All right. Oh my God. Oh my God. We're here. We're live. We're into it. Hello, my name is John Hand with the Pulsing Cinema, and we're doing a live show now. We're live. I mean, this is just a Thursday night random time. No reason to do it quite. But and I'm doing a solo show now. I'm doing a solo live cast. I feel like this is something I should not be doing. I feel like this is Ouija, and it's going to be progressive entrapment, and I'm going to be entrapped in the board. But in any case, I'm here to talk about shit that other live casts and live events don't talk about. Do they talk about what the important shit like movies and magazines and monsters and more movies and TV and all kinds of crazy stuff. And that's the important stuff. So speaking of magazines, you can tell I got magazines on the brain. Just a few days ago, the incredible magazine Video Watchdog announced that they are ending the print publications. They announced this on their website. Oh my God, it's a sad thing. Video Watchdog, if you guys don't know, then you guys unfortunately don't know. But Video Watchdog was a movie magazine that's been going on for publishing for 27 years, since the early 90s. They are the perfectionist's guide to fantastic video, and just a mom and pop thing. Tim and Donna Lucas, a couple. Tim Lucas, the editor of Video Watchdog, has been featured in many commentary tracks over the years. He's a Mario Bava scholar, an Italian horror and fantasy film scholar, and so much love has been poured into Video Watchdog and these types of movie magazines, and it's a shame to see this thing go to web only. It's a shame. Within recent years, Video Watchdog has moved online and they had a Indiegogo project to fund their digitizing all of their back issues. Their oh my God, 27 years of back issues. I don't know. Movie magazines, I mean, if you're a certain age, movie magazines were it. I mean, growing up in the 80s and 90s, there was no internet. The internet hit in like 97, 96. You have to realize that. And before that, magazines like Video Watchdog or little what they called zines, which were like self-published things like Sam Hain and so I don't know. I'm just, like so many of them, so many tiny little zines and stuff, and of course the big guys like Fangoria and Starlog, and Cinefantastique. I did a whole video on Cinefantastique. I did a whole podcast, and it's on Pulsing Cinema, where you can go and in that video I kind of give you kind of a history of Cinefantastique, and I even show pretty much every Cinefantastique cover is in that video. Cinefantastique was cool. Cinefantastique was like a high-end, it felt like the Hollywood Reporter or something. But I mean, again, it was just made by, one guy, not in Hollywood, just out in the middle of nowhere, this guy, Frederick S. Clark. And it was just, and so these magazines were often, they had a driving force behind them, and they had an editorial verve. And they could sometimes get bawdy. They could sometimes get a little bit like off message, off book. I remember an interview in Starlog with, I think her name was Andrea Markovicki. She was the actress. She's in a lot of films, but she was in The Stuff. And she talked about how in the stuff Larry Cohen wanted her to do a nude scene. She didn't want to do it. And so there was all this like little cattiness. The cattiness and the kind of stuff that now you get on a message board and everything, in a Twitter feed and whatever, is at one point that was in a magazine, that was in a journal, you know. And then of course you get the really like catty, you know, chatty stuff. There was the gossip rags, the zines, the one or two guys in the middle of nowhere just doing these Xerox pages about film. I mean, that was a hell of a thing. So, I mean, it's the end of an era, really. I mean, I always thought Video Watchdog could go on. I always thought Video Watchdog, there was a possibility that, you know, because they had such a loyal following. They had such a loyal following, and I always thought there was a way out of it. I always thought that the people would. I mean, I support it, you know, on and off, just like everybody. I mean, I think magazines became a very shaky value proposition when the price rose above $5, you know. And I mean, you think about what's been going on for the past year, really, with Fangoria. I don't know if you guys know what's going on with Fangoria. Fangoria was, again, the flagship publication of horror fans, but Fangoria has lost their publisher. They've lost Michael Gingold and a lot of the people who were part of Fangoria in the early days have now jumped ship. Fangoria has now it hasn't published a print issue in like something like 7 months. They keep doing these digital digital issues. The current one is 348 guest editor Kevin Smith. And he talks. What's in this thing? I haven't even done it. Well, also this website is just utter shit. I mean, I hate to say it. It's just like it's so hard to get to things. Vulgar, an essay by Kevin Smith, interview with Brian Usna, The Mind's Eye. Oh wow, Joe Begas. He pronounces his name Begas, by the way. What House of Reanimator? What is that? Oh, future of this Reanimator reunion. I don't know. What is that? I don't know. Oh, Michael Parks. Oh. See, now this is going to make me buy it. Look at this shit. There's a lot of good stuff in here, actually. I was gonna tear it open, but oh well. Okay. So it still disappoints me, the fact that there's not a print issue. Fangoria, you know, and I was just thinking, man, like when I was growing, you know, when you grow up, you're like, it's always going to be there. It's just always going to be there. You know, you just never have the idea that something can die out, that, you know, you can have your fun, and every month you can have this kind of like I don't know if anybody else was like me, but during the early 90s, like every, you know, getting that monthly or bi-monthly or whatever injection of Fangoria kept me alive, you know, kept me reading about, you know, Richard Stanley and Dust Devil, or you know, the Halloween 6, and you know, Return of the Living Dead Part 3, you know, and I remember that's the issue that for some reason got stolen. You know, I always got, because they used to ship Fangoria. I had a subscription, and they would ship them in these black plastic, just horrible, the cheapest the packing plastic they could find, and it would always get to my I would always get it in my post box. It was always like ripped up, and the issues were like all fucked up. But I didn't care, man. It was Fangoria. Jesus Christ, it was Fangoria. But even Fangoria's fallen. I mean, the timeline of Fangoria's descent into hell, I mean, kind of started in the 90s when it really, I think the quality went down, and then in the mid 90s became like, it was like Millennium and the X-Files episode guides, and it just became mediocre. It became horrible, and then it just kept getting more expensive, and then it kind of reached a real low point within the early 2000s. And then you had Chris Alexander, come into it and take over editorial. And in the past few years, Chris Alexander has steered the Fangoria ship into something that was great. He restored the original retro Fangoria logo. He brought back a lot of the coolness to it. Suddenly, there are now interviews with Alice Cooper and retrospectives of Hodorowski and El Topo and the Holy Mountain and that type of stuff. And then, of course, the prices were just flying through the roof. An issue of Fangoria, my God, $10, $10. I mean, it's highway robbery. Ridiculous. And so, he's left. What did he go to? A website? Something? He's doing other shit. Shock pop and roll. He's now. I don't know where the fuck Chris Alexander is. He also makes really interesting experimental films. He did the Lips of Irina and the Loves of Irina, and doing a werewolf woman movie, and very very similar to my first movie, Frankenstein's Bloody Nightmare. Very kind of in the same vein. And speaking of Frankenstein's Bloody Nightmare, another reason I really love Video Watchdog is because they reviewed Frankenstein's Bloody Nightmare. They were nice enough to, I sent them a copy, and they reviewed the Unearthed Films DVD of Frankenstein's Bloody. Kim Newman reviewed it. The great British film critic. I got a Kim Newman review. Well, he just didn't know what the fuck to think of it. He was like, this movie is crazy. I don't know what it is. I can't tell you. Frankenstein's Bloody Nightmare. Whatever. Can I find that review? No, it's not on any website though. He was nice enough also to include Frankenstein's Bloody Nightmare in his book. What is his book called? I don't know. But anyway. That's my movie, Frankenstein's Bloody Nightmare. So just gotta rep it. Gotta rep it out. So there you go. Slowing down for a second. So let's get off. Let's get off the promotion stuff. Let's talk about. Halloween. It's getting close to Halloween, and I know everybody's. Getting excited. Everybody's getting excited. I don't know. I don't feel that excited about Halloween. I think on Sunday I might be watching The Exorcist. I might go to a screening here at the Alamo Drafthouse in Austin. I live in Austin, and Alamo Drafthouse, a fun place. They are having some Exorcist screenings, and I'm gonna go do that. Over the past couple weeks, what I've been checking out is The Exorcist 3. If I had to suggest to you one film to watch around the Halloween time, I think it would be The Exorcist 3, 1990, directed by William Peter Blatty, the third Exorcist film. Of course, the Exorcist, the iconic film, and then The Exorcist 2 is so much could be said about it, so much negativity. And The Exorcist 3 is William Peter Blatty returning to The Exorcist and making a movie that is just scary as hell. A movie which has a little bit of theology, a little bit of the eccentric comedy of William Peter Blatty, but overall just a a film which is ruthlessly dedicated to scaring the living daylights out of you, to scaring the crap out of you. I mean, I remember I don't remember if I actually saw it in the theaters back in 1990. You know, I was a little kid. I know I saw the trailers. There was even at that point, and speaking of Fangoria, it was mucho hyped in the pages of Fangoria, and the bloody, gory, strange stills of the film, many special effects which were cut out of the final version. There was there was this whole air around Exorcist 3 that, William Peter Blatty wanted to make this serious kind of paranormal detective film, this paranormal procedural drama, and the people behind it just wanted another Exorcist sequel, and they made him tack on an exorcism to the end, this kind of gigantic special effects laden finale, where the original version was very quiet and simple and direct. And so that was always kind of like, oh, are we ever going to get the original version of The Exorcist 3? Is it ever going to be released? And now Shout Factory, Scream Factory, God love them, have released The Exorcist on a 2-disc set, an incredible 2-disc Blu-ray set that is oh my god, this thing is incredible. I'm sure if you're a horror fan, you already know about it, but oh my god, new transfer of the director's cut, the theatrical, or rather the theatrical cut, vintage featurettes, some deleted scenes, not really a lot, a deleted prologue with Brad Dourif, where basically Brad Dourif is playing the Father Karras role, some vintage interviews, primarily with Blatty, and then this disc 2 with all these new interviews. This is an audio interview with William Peter Blatty, which is more like a kind of a commentary track. And it's also this Legion, this director's cut, what is called this director's cut. Basically, what they've done is taken kind of this VHS work print of Legion, pieces of Legion, and tried to create a version that's closer to Blatty's original cut. And I've watched about half of it, and it's different. It's different. I mean, there's no Jason Miller. It's all Brad Dourif, and the ending is way different, as I heard. I actually, one cool thing about this Exorcist 3 release is that you can buy the Blu-ray, but all of the special features, everything, have actually been released to iTunes. There's a Exorcist 3 on iTunes, and it has like the Blu-ray is like $22. It's only $12.99, $13, I guess, appropriate on iTunes, and it has all of the special features, everything. I wish more companies would do that. I wish more companies would just get it all up on iTunes for a decent price. So that's what I bought. The only downside of buying it on iTunes is that the extras don't download when you watch it. They don't download. They stream. So what that means is usually when you buy a movie on iTunes, the video file downloads to your computer. You can just watch. You can even watch it offline. Not so with the extras. Any movie on iTunes with streaming extras is with iTunes extras rather is streaming only. So, but that's a great, if you want to check out the extras. There's a lot of great interviews with the editors, the people behind it. With, of course, there's a great little interview with Brad Dourif, and a really interesting audio interview with William Peter Blatty. So that's something to check out. What else do we want to talk about? Everybody always drinks alcohol. You can tell me I'm a weirdo. I'm drinking Spreckler cream soda, the only cream soda. You can say, oh, you're an IBC root beer man. I like IBC as well. I kind of grew up on IBC, but this stuff, this is IBC is a little bit difficult to get around here. This is the good stuff. Refreshing. So let's talk about some other shit. Let's talk about Day of the Dead, the new Day of the Dead movie that somebody's making that I'm trying to ignore. I just checked out a thing on Dread Central. Day of the Dead's Jonathan Skeck gets his monster on. Some cool eye candy showcasing Jonathan Skeck's makeup in the new version of Day of the Dead. Is directing to Mark Tondere wrote the script. Johnny Skeck stars along with Sophie Skelton, Marcus Vanko, Jeff Gum, Nick Loeb, Lorena Kambarova, and a lot of other people you haven't fucking heard of. And of course, it's going to be Millennium, Avi Lerner, Boaz Davidson, of course, Duddleson. Look at that! Look at that, man! Look at that! Looks like something on motherfucking Chud, doesn't it? Looks like motherfucking Chud, you know. Fucking Day of the Dead. People are just fucking skull fucking that one, man. People are just. I had a riff I wanted to do on that, but I just forgot. I don't care. I mean, that's just so ridiculous. To do a good zombie movie, though. To do a good zombie movie and not trample all over the intellectual property of George Romero, excuse me, it's difficult. It's difficult. You know, what is my favorite? One of the my favoriteest zombie movies of recent years. Movie that just I had avoided it for years and years. Did I do a review of this? Did I do a review of it? I think I did, but I really don't care. I'm going to talk about it again. It is Shatter Dead. Shatter Dead blew me away. Shatter Dead is this movie with the about it's kind of like a very realistic Living Dead film. It's this this idea of, you know, you're just kind of, you know, this woman is basically trying to go across, you know, get home, and she's being besieged by all of these zombies, and it's this stark raven. She's, you know, again, the acting in this film I think is incredibly good. It's incredibly downbeat. It came out of, you know, 1994, but it started shooting. I think they started shooting it like 1990, 1991. It was 1989. I mean, this movie comes out of the early 90s direct shot on video stuff. You know, the guys that when I was growing up, you know, okay, this is how you're going to, you know, make a movie. You're going to get a little high-8 camera, and you're going to, you know, transfer your footage to Super VHS, and you're going to edit with a fucking, in a big television studio, and that's how you're going to make your movie. That's how you're going to do it. You know, when I was growing up, I mean, it was the best of times. It was the worst of times. You know, as far as being a filmmaker, we didn't have no fucking DSLRs and 4Ks and fucking red weapons and all this I mean, my God, you know, Jesus Christ. Little kid in the 90s, you're like, oh my God, someday I'm going to be able to shoot on 16 millimeter. Now it's just dead. It's gone. But anyway, you know, there were a lot of shitty movies. A lot of dudes like J.R. Bookwalter, like Kevin Lindenmuth, you know, what in the late 90s and early 2000s when Michael Razzo was doing with Seductive Cinema. That was more on kind of the the B movie Skinemax side. But you know, Hugh Gallagher and his Gorotica type movies, gore horror type movies, Draculina, and then that stuff. And so everybody was kind of making, you know, even John Russo made a little direct-to-video movie. He made Midnight Part 2 and Sub Rosa Films and Tempe and go on and on and on and on and on and on. The shit that is just going to be lost to time. Nobody gives a fuck about those VHS movies in the 90s, which is a sad thing. Which is sad because there are some little diamonds in the rough. And Shatter Dead is a diamond in the rough. Shatter Dead is a hell of a movie. Shatter Dead is this philosophical rumination on life and death and the intersection between. And there are scenes in and it's shot on like low quality video. The beginning of the film is incredible. There's a scene with this woman in sexual congress with an angel, and it's a artistic. There's an artistry to it. There's sleaziness to it. It's an art horror film. It's one of the lost touchstones of art horror. I mean, and it's a film that looks bad. That as far as the video quality, I mean, I think. It's a well-made film as far as like, you know, I mean, it's not most shot and video movies. They got a bad rap because the people that were making them, you know, the Polonia brothers and the people, they weren't following filmmaking grammar. They just were shooting these locked off, you know, wide shots and just like it looked like fucking Aunt Edna's home movie. But you get some blood and shit. And some people like that aesthetic. They like the home movie type aesthetic to the shot and video stuff of the 80s and 90s. I never liked it as a kid. I really kind of despised it, and it made me pass by these types of shot and video films. And it was a freaking shame because I missed out on years of being able to watch Shatter Dead. Shatter Dead is a hell of a movie. There are scenes in it there is the scene where Stark, the lead Stark Raven, it has holed up in this house with all these other kind of survivors, and there's this kind of attack on the house by these armed living dead people who want to liberate everybody by basically killing everyone and making everybody into zombies. And the cross-cutting in that scene, and which is overlaid with this guy yelling and shouting this manifesto, it's so well done. You're like, this is too well done for for what should be just a shot on video piece of shit, for a shot on video piece of garbage. But it's just such a well done film that I kind of hesitate to look for more stuff because it does have some nudity. It does have some nudio stuff going on. I don't want to run afoul of anything. But my God, Shatter Dead, maybe that's another movie you should watch. But it should be depressing as hell. Is Shatter Dead even streaming anywhere? Can you even get it? Can you get it streaming? Because I know Sub Rosa was selling it, selling DVD. What the hell is this? Scream House? There's a DVD of Shatter Dead that is $251. That seems like something's going on. Well, anyway, so Shatter Dead's great. Okay, moving on. You know, we're moving this thing along. We're moving along. Gotten obsessed over Shatter Dead. Well, we can also talk about just overall this thing that we're on, this thing that you're watching me through the internet, it's like fueled by negativity. It's like this big marketing gimmick ripoff. It just fuel your it's just that's fueled by people's inadequacies and people's anger and discontent, and we have a big problem with recreational outrage, you know. And I think I don't know. I'm getting kind of deep. I've always wanted to do a long video on this of what's going on with our culture right now and the political correctness and the insanity and I kind of feel like I don't even want to step into the fray. I mean, I feel like it's just not even worth it. That it's something. There's some positive forces going on in the world, but there's also a lot of negativity and a lot of stuff. But I just started thinking about it when I started seeing all of these articles. I was just preparing this show. I saw this article. The Shining has lost its shine. Kubrick is slumming into a genre he despised, and it's talking about how The Shining is such a sucky movie, and it doesn't live up to the book, and blah blah blah. And then I was like 15 years ago, The Fight Club still sucks, and this is written by Vice magazine, so it's a little more, low end than The Guardian. It uses a little more coarse language, and I realized my teen self was full of shit and blah 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 blah. When I see these negative articles, I kind of look beyond the article, and I just look at how hard it is to be a journalist. We talked about the death of print journalism. The death of the horror, sci-fi, fantasy magazines, and they've held on. They've held on longer than other print forms have, like the newspaper and journalism in general. It's just, journalism has been replaced by anybody who can start up a blog, anyone who can put on a good show and rant and rave about something, whether they're right or whether they're wrong. Film criticism has just become this kind of landmine of just negativity and anger and picking sides and all of this stuff. And for someone like me who's kind of used to Siskel and Ebert, who's used to a kinder, gentle kind of era where you had, Rex Reed and Gene Shalit and Siskel and Ebert and whatever, the other jokers, who were running around Champlain, and there were certain gatekeepers and certain people who were, okay, that was it, and then you had your local people, of course, and people who are interesting and, who would write your reviews in your local town, but you had the gatekeepers somehow. And somehow I don't feel like you have that anymore. I feel like you have just a lot of like thousands and thousands of struggling journalism students who are trying to make a way in the world, who have a passion to write, but they're doing these negative articles, negative reviews on these websites for like maybe whatever. They don't pay them. They pay them $20 a pop for it. They pay $30 a pop for these fucking. I'm not talking about The Guardian, what Vice, what I don't know what the fuck, but I mean. It's just everybody's trying to jockey to get a position. You've got so many writers doing so many blogs, doing so many reviews. It's just you've got 10,000 fucking movies made every day. It's like, hey, where can you slot yourself in? I think about that. I think about the overcrowding of the whole world, and the whole, oh my God, the whole Ghostbusters reboot fiasco and all of the critical ridiculousness around that. I mean, again, that's a whole other universe. But anyway, I just thought I'd throw that up. So if you, I'm going to throw those links in the in the comments in the description of this video. So if you're interested in getting outraged, you can click on that and get outraged. Oh, it said something about Fight Club. Oh, it said something about The Shining. Oh my God, The Shining. This is very movie romantic. Oh man. Well, Shin Godzilla. Shin Godzilla was just released. It was, what can I call it, a release? Would I call it a release? I mean, it was only out for a week in just selected cities and 1 or 2 showings a day. I caught a Saturday 12:30 showing of it. So likely the next stop of Shin Godzilla or Godzilla Resurgence is going to be on home video in the United States. If it does roll around your way somehow and they roll it back out, I think you should go see it too. I'm kind of a low to mid-grade Godzilla fan. I mean, I've seen many of the films, but many of the films have bored me to tears. They've bored me to tears in that in Godzilla films, there's always like the stupid love triangle between the civil servant or the scientist and the little kid and the soldier. And is he going to get killed by Godzilla? Is he going to be Godzilla's friend? Is she going to break up with him? Is blah, blah, blah. All of this kind of low-grade, sappy, emotional filler that's in between the scenes of Godzilla going and wrecking stuff. And Shin Godzilla cuts all that out. It's basically this very fact-based, grounds it in reality. It's a film that's told in boardrooms and cabinet offices and special interview rooms. And it's a film about a government trying to come to terms with a natural disaster that is Godzilla. You don't know anything about the characters in this film other than the fact that they're political officials, scientists. There's no step out of their backs to view their. No, the film just shoves itself ahead, and it's one of the favorite. It's one of my favorite Godzilla movies instantly. If it would have been playing more, I would have gone back and seen it. I mean, I stopped it, and I got out of the theater. I'm like, man, I want to go back. I don't want to see it again. They're only showing it once. I was like, my God, this is just great. And I mean, it's not boring. I mean, I think some people who are saying it's boring are not Godzilla fans. They don't know how boring fucking Godzilla movies can get fucking boring. Okay, and no offense, they're not afraid to indulge in great boredom. This film does not indulge in great boredom. This film takes it and moves. It's a moves from the very beginning. You see Godzilla launching himself and the transformation of Godzilla throughout the film is very, very fascinating. And then there is some great Godzilla attack scenes. Godzilla kind of mutates throughout the film and changes, and it's quite incredible. It's quite amazing. And if you're a Godzilla fan, I mean, I don't know how you'll react to it, but I think you'll enjoy it because it's got some really great people behind it, and some really, 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 really groovy stuff. I don't know. I mean, I think that's about it. Have I been doing anything lately? Watching anything? I think you see my Mr. Robot F Society mask there. That's groovy. Westworld. Westworld is developing into quite a show. The HBO Westworld series. Westworld has been in development for they started shooting the show back in 2014. This thing's been going for for like 2 years, and now it's coming out. It's incredible. I mean, I love Westworld. I actually, a few weeks ago, I rewatched the original Westworld, and my God, Michael Crichton, my God, rest in peace. Brilliant, And the great thing about the television series is it doesn't feel like a remake or a reboot. It feels like a continuation of the original Westworld. And it feels like, 30 some years later, here we are, and we're in Delos. We're in the Western world, and it's got some really great guys. Rachel Evan Wood, Tandy Newton, Jeffrey Wright is Bernie, and James Marsden is Teddy. Ed Harris is the Man in Black. Oh my God! And Anthony Hopkins is the mysterious Dr. Ford. It's four fucking episodes in. I can't tell you. I mean, I get everybody's the theories and this and that. I don't know how it's going to develop. I don't know. But it's a good show. I hate I hate people going with their crackpot theories. That's why I love the Netflix style. Just get it all fucking out, because television shows these days, they're not episodic. Sometimes they feel like Mr. Robot was like this as well. It's like a 10-hour movie, and it's like if you watch 2 or 3 episodes and then you start coming up with theories and shit, it almost feels like it's like that guy who starts watching a movie and 5 minutes into a movie, he's like, oh, it's this and that. Okay, maybe you're right. Who gives a fuck? I don't want to listen to your dumbass theories. That's why I love it when you just get all the episodes out. Season. There it is. 10 episodes all at once. There you go. Get it all out. Anyway, I think I've ranted and raved quite enough, quite too much even. I don't know. So what can I say about Halloween? What's going to be in Halloween this year? What's going to happen? I think I'm taking a pause here because I think I think TCM is doing a really great Halloween marathon this year. I think they're doing some classic films, some classic Val Lewton type shit, Dementia 13, House of Wax, Black Sabbath, Dead of Night, The Haunting, and then they're doing Christopher Lee. They're going to do a whole gaggle of Christopher. What, the two faces of Dr. Jekyll? I don't think I've ever seen that. Huh. I don't think I've ever seen the Jekyll movie. 61. Well, that's fascinating. You learn something new every day. So, yeah, that might be worth checking out, the TCM horror movie marathon with The Mummy and what is it? The Devil's Bride. The devil. It's not the devil. It's the devil. Devil Rides Out. They call it The Devil's Bride. I don't know. I always loved that movie. The name The Devil. The Devil's Rides Out, where Christopher Lee plays this guy who's fighting this Mokata, this Satanist, who has a coven, and he's trying to get his friend's kid out of the coven, and he's fighting the devil, and they're going to the circle and the pentagram, and the meet the devil and that at night and that big ceremony and fucking Mokata. I love saying his name, Mokata. Mokata, the devil, right? And there's that scene where the devil is like going, you guys know the devil rides out, right? It's the devil rides out. Yeah. Terence Fisher, 1968. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's the devil. He's riding. He rides out. He's riding out. He's riding the beauty of woman, the demon of darkness, the unholy union of the devil rides out. That poster reminds me of the Dunwich Horror for some reason immediately. I don't know why. Man, the Dunwich Horror. It was quite a horror. I was not a fan of that. But anyway, how long can I rant? How long can I rave? How long can I keep this up? Not very often. Not for very long, rather. So, I think if there's anything else. No, I don't think so. So I think I'm gonna say adieu until the next show. Probably a non-live show. Probably other things. So in any case, good night.